Welcome to this overview on how to use the SF-901 CUI cover sheet to protect controlled unclassified information, provided by DTC Global and sponsored by our partner company, CUISupply.com, your leading source for security labels and marking resources for protecting controlled unclassified information. My name is Xavier Lamont. In this short presentation, we're going to cover what the SF-901 cover sheet is, why it's important, and how to fill it out correctly. The process is straightforward, quick, and essential for protecting CUI. Just a reminder, use of this content is authorized for individual and licensed use only. All other uses are strictly prohibited. The SF-901 is a standardized cover sheet used to clearly label physical documents or folders that contain controlled unclassified information, again, CUI. Think of it as a protective banner covering a document, group of documents, or even items to prevent unauthorized viewing or accidental exposure of sensitive information. Its purpose is to alert everyone that the information inside needs to be handled with specific security requirements. The SF-901's distinct purple color and standardized format make it easily recognizable from a distance to help ensure compliance with CUI handling procedures. The SF-901 is a best practice alternative marking method. You're authorized to use it for marking CUI when CUI is too large or in great quantities to mark each document properly. Also, when CUI can't be marked with normal markings, such as identifying items, parts, shelves, or staging carts even, or areas where CUI is present, or when existing documents may not be altered but the information must still be marked and identified. Keep in mind, however, that whenever you use any type of alternate marking method, that method must be conspicuous and highly visible with clear and obvious markings. Now, you'll use the SF-901 primarily when you're handling printed documents that contain CUI, and this could be anything from engineering data to procurement details or proprietary research funded by the Department of Defense. And attaching this form to the outside of a folder or a packet that contains that information helps prevent unauthorized access and keeps your organization compliant. So the SF-901 clearly marks documents as containing CUI, again, alerting individuals to the presence of sensitive information that requires safeguarding or specific dissemination controls as mandated by Executive Order 13556. Additionally, when marking a document is impractical, due, as I said before, due to the quantity, the format, or other restrictions, the SF-901 can be used instead of a banner, satisfying CUI identification requirements without altering the document itself. For instance, let's say you've got a technical report that by definition contains CUI. That could be information such as a printed system performance report, that includes restricted technical information like subsystem design, failure rates, recommended design adjustments, etc. And the report can't be altered, but you need to share it with a colleague. An easy way to do that is to fill out and affix the SF-901 cover sheet to the top of the report. So again, when you can't directly mark a document as you see on the left, or when doing so is impractical due to the quantity, format, or other restrictions, the SF-901 can be used instead of banner marking, satisfying the CUI identification requirements without altering the document itself. The SF-901 CUI cover sheet is an alternative form of CUI marking to be used, again, when you can't mark the pages of a document containing CUI for any reason. Once it's filled out, attach the SF-901 to the top of the document or folder using a binder clip or an adhesive cover, something along those lines. But remember, it must be conspicuous and visible at all times. And the document is not to be separated or removed from the cover. Never separate this top page or this cover from the folder, binder, or any of the unmarked pages. It acts as a visual cue to remind authorized users of their responsibility and warn others that they are not authorized to view or handle the documents. So let's go over how to correctly fill out the SF-901 cover sheet, line by line. This information helps ensure accountability, traceability, and proper handling of CUI. We'll start with the tracking number. Just assign a unique ID to help manage and trace this document across systems or across teams. Make sure that you've identified the full name of the customer or the agency that owns or requested the work, the date that the CUI document was created or it was received, the project point of contact. You'll want to list the name of the primary person responsible for this project or the document itself. And be sure to provide contact phone or email information in case clarification is needed. For export controlled information or controlled technical information, circle yes or no depending on whether the content includes either of these. And then for the notes, use this space to provide additional context or instructions relevant to the document's use or its distribution. Now, the lower bottom half of the form contains even more critical information. Be sure to fill it out correctly. The controlled by, this field is listed twice for clarity. You should identify both the organization the work is being performed for and the responsible individuals or departments that are controlling the CUI. The CUI categories, including and in addition to those marked above, specify the exact category or categories of CUI. For example, CTI, whether it's export controlled, it could be critical infrastructure, privacy or PII, or other defense information, as is listed in the CUI registry. Then there's the limited dissemination control, and you'll want to note any restrictions such as no foreign, which is not releasable to foreign nationals, no sharing with foreign persons or governments, RELIDO, which would be releasable by information disclosure official, release only with case-by-case approval or specific access limitations, and of course, the distribution statement. You want to provide the appropriate distribution statement from DoD instruction 5230.24 if that's applicable. Completing each field clearly and correctly is essential to staying compliant and ensuring the document is protected and handled properly. Now quickly, regarding the distribution statements, these are the various ones that are listed. You won't be filling out distribution statement A or B. Generally speaking, you'll almost always be dealing with distribution statements C or D, and usually it's going to be D. So just to drive the point home, and here's the most critical information on the SF-901 form that you do not want to skip. The controlled by, which is the organization, that is the customer or the agency that issued the contract or requested the work. Then the second controlled by is the name of the organization that is the originator of the CUI. In other words, who developed this document. Then the CUI categories, again, identify the categories of CUI within the document. Export controlled information research, controlled technical information or CTI, etc. The limited dissemination control for non-technical information, add an approved LCD such as I said before, no form, FedCon, or whatever specific access limitations there happen to be. Then the distribution statement, and for technical information, you will identify which distribution statement applies, which is usually going to be distribution statement D. That's going to be the most common. And finally, make certain that you've identified the project point of contact. You want to list the name of the primary person responsible for this project or for this document and provide their contact information. Well, that wraps it up. As a final thought, remember, the SF-901 is simple to use but critical for ensuring CUI is marked and protected properly. When in doubt, reach out to your security officer or compliance lead for guidance. This concludes this presentation. If you need assistance or have any questions, DTC Global is here to help. When you need marking resources, CUIsupply.com is your definitive source. We're happy to be partnering with you because together we can secure freedom's defense supply chain. Thank you so much for watching.